All right, so we're diving into a tough one today.
Yeah, this one's been heavy on my mind all week.
Definitely a case that sticks with you. The murders of Jennifer and Jessica back in 1990, a case that still haunts their California community.
And that's what we're here to untangle, right? What happened? Why does this case stay unsolved after all this time? And what's the ripple effect on everyone, especially their families?
Right, because this isn't just a story ripped from the headlines. It's real people, real loss, and a community grappling with the fact that justice hasn't been served.
Absolutely, and I think that's what draws people to these cases, The need to understand, to find some kind of resolution, even when it feels impossible.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Jennifer and Jessica, best friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
What were they like?
Oh, they were inseparable. Practically two halves of the same person, Everyone who knew them talks about their energy, their laughter, how bright they both were.
And young.
Right.
Just teenagers on the verge of adulthood.
Exactly. That's what makes it even more tragic. Jennifer, she was the artistic one, always sketching, dreaming of designing clothes. Jessica, total athlete, star soccer player, super competitive.
Sounds like they had their whole lives ahead of them. And then gone. So let's talk about that night. What do we actually know about their disappearance?
Well, that's the frustrating part. The details are so murky. They were at a local carnival, last seen together there, but after that, poof, almost like they vanished.
But a carnival? That's crowded, lots of people. Someone must have seen something.
You'd think, right? But solid information, it's like trying to find a needle in a haystack.
It makes you wonder what really happened after they left the carnival grounds and then the discovery of their bodies. Where were they found?
It was about a week later, a hiker out in this wooded area, secluded, outside of town. That's where he found them. Doesn't get more chilling than that,
Awful. And thinking back to 1990, forensics weren't what they are now. What did investigators have to work with? Cause of death. Any of those details available?
Well, that's the thing. Even now, a lot of that is still kind of shrouded in mystery. Limited technology back then, for sure. Think about it. DNA analysis like we have today could have been a game changer.
Yeah, a tiny trace of evidence that might have been overlooked then could blow the case wide open now.
Exactly. Maybe there were fingerprints they could analyze properly, or DNA that was too degraded with the methods they had back then.
Makes you wonder if the killer got away with it, literally, because of the limitations of the time. Were there any early suspects, any promising leads the police were chasing?
There were a few names that came up, yeah. And they looked into everything, every witness, every rumor, but nothing concrete, nothing that stuck.
Just dead ends. I can't imagine how frustrating that must have been, especially for the families waiting for answers that just don't come.
Oh, it was agonizing for them, you can only imagine. Every day that passes, the hope dwindles, the pain stays.
In cases like this, they tend to attract a lot of media attention. What was the public response like back then?
Media frenzy is an understatement. It was everywhere. National news, every theory, every little detail, plastered across TVs, newspapers. A lot of pressure on the investigators, but honestly, probably not all helpful.
You think all that attention might have actually hurt the investigation?
Absolutely. Misinformation spreads like wildfire. Witnesses get confused. Leads get muddled. It's a double-edged sword.
So they're dealing with the pressure of solving this horrific crime. And on top of that, they're wading through a sea of misinformation and speculation.
Exactly. And meanwhile, the families, they're grieving, they're desperate for answers, and they're also dealing with this public spectacle around their personal tragedy.
It's unimaginable. Their lives are shattered, and then the whole world is watching and speculating.
You gotta admire their strength, though. Jennifer and Jessica's families, they never gave up. They kept pushing for answers, keeping the girls' memory alive, organizing vigils, advocating for the case to stay open.
That's incredible. 3 decades, never giving up hope. So where does the case stand now? Any chance it might still be solved?
Officially, it's cold. But that doesn't mean it's forgotten. There are periodic reviews, new eyes looking at the evidence, new technologies being applied. And with DNA advancements, who knows?
It's like you said earlier, maybe there's a tiny fiber, a hair, something overlooked back then that could hold the key.
Right. Or maybe, just maybe, someone out there knows something they dismissed as unimportant at the time. And maybe now they'll finally come forward.
It's a thought that lingers, doesn't it? That somewhere, somehow, there might be that missing piece of the puzzle.
It does. And that's why it's crucial to keep these cold cases alive in the public consciousness. Jennifer, Jessica, all the victims of unsolved crimes, their stories need to be told. Their families deserve answers.
You're right. This deep dive, it's been hard, I'll be honest. But it's a powerful reminder of the lasting impact of these unsolved crimes and the incredible resilience of those who fight for justice in the face of unimaginable loss.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And for anyone listening, if you have any information, no matter how small or insignificant it might seem, about the case of Jennifer and Jessica, please reach out to the authorities.
You never know. That one little detail could be the breakthrough they've been waiting for.
All right, well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Stay tuned. We'll be back with another case soon.
Until then, keep those minds curious and those hearts compassionate.
And remember, every case, every victim deserves justice.
Every single one.
Thanks for listening.
See you next time.